Good morning, it's Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi here in Yerushalayim Kodesh. We are now in our second shir, learning Mishna Berura, here on Rehov's Yaakov number 6, by Knesset of Chanukah Yeshiva, is not too far from the bus station here in Yerushalayim. So we're learning about Parsha Zachor just briefly. It's coming up to Shabbos. Simin Tov Reish Hey Sip Zayin.
יש אומרים שפרשת החור ופרשת פרה אדומה חייבים לקרותה מדאורייתא. There's those who say that Parshat Zachor and Parshat Para, we have to read it as obligated to read according to the Torah. The Pika, Ben HaYeshuvim she'en lahem minyan, whether there's a place, a community that does not have minyan, shritim lavo lamakom sheyesh minyan, they have to go to a place that has a minyan, b'shabbatot v'shabbat, v'shabbat Allah lo b'shabbatot. Kedei lishma parashiyot elim dorda, so you can hear these parashiyot according to the Torah. Hagav ve'im efshar lahem lavik, it's impossible to come. Mikol makom yizaru likortam b'medinatam uv'tama, it should be careful that they should read it with their tunes and with their tamim, the shrubs.
Yeah, very. Okay, let's see the Mishna Berura.
Sheperashat Zachor, Dechtiv Zachor et asher asa. It says in the pasuk you should remember what they did. The Gamrinan, the Gemara says the Hai Zachor Hainu Bamir Mitoch HaSefer Dafka, that this Zachor has to be said in a book.
I mean, that's really a Sefer Torah. I mean, a Sefer Torah. You have to. It has to be a kosher Sefer Torah. It has to be with all the Tanaim, everything that goes into the completion and making of a true kosher Sefer Torah. You have to read from a kosher Sefer Torah. And this is a question according to the opinions. It's the right side.
Right. And it's not enough if he has it in his heart.
I'm going to think about what I have to think about when it comes over as a Shah Saw Moloch, and you think about what they did and how they have to be punished and all the things that Hashem wants us to do about this. But if it's not being read properly through the means of a kosher Sefer Torah, you're not fulfilling your mitzvah d'oraisa, according to many.
Therefore, the one who reads has to have in mind to be yotze, the people listening. The ones who are listening have in mind that they're being yotze when the Balkor is reading.
Okay, so that's two important points. When the one who's reading, has to have in mind to be motzi everybody who's listening, and also the people who are listening have to have kavanah that they're listening to these words being said, because it's a fulfillment of a mitzvah d'oraisa, a command of a Kadosh Baruch Hu through his Torah.
Parashat Para Aduma, the Parshat Aduma, Ve'arbeach Achronim Katvu Sheparzo Ena Midarta. There's a lot of Achronim who wrote that the Parsha is not from the Torah. Ve'ayin Le'al B'siman Samech Seif Katan Yud Mishna Berura Filo B'mitzvah D'Rabbanan Gam Kein Tzorech L'cham L'tzei B'dei Mitzvah. That's right there that even a mitzvah, according to that of the rabbis, you also have to have in mind that you should be yotzeh in the mitzvah.
Very good. This is going to clarify what we mentioned a few last week. That remember the Mishnah said Efshar, that you're supposed to have kavanah for the mitzvahs of Efshar Litzur kavanah al zeh. Right, meaning on what? Sudas Purim, Matanas Levyonim, Mishloach Monos. Right, when they make the Shechianu, that you should have in mind for the Shechianu, right? And also that you surah kavana al zeh l'shem mitzvah. When you're having your Sudas Purim, right? When you're sending your Sholach Monos, when you're giving your Matanas Levyonim, you should have in mind maybe doing it l'shem mitzvah. And so here you see Mefurish that there are those who hold that even when it comes to a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, right, l'katchila, you're supposed to have kavanah, let's say. Very good. Okay.
That's right. The makom sheyesh minyan, the place has a minyan. Hainu, example. Afilo yesh lo sefer tov b'beit, even if he has a sefer tov in his house. Ela she'en lo minyan mitov, he doesn't have a minyan in his house. Afilo im nomar de minyan le parshat Zachor, even according to those say the parsha was Rabbanan Be'alma, always. Al kol panim ikar kriyat Zachor hu d'oraita, but the main element of reading parsha Zachor is d'oraita. Ve'ina betuta medeshin, Tuma medeshin brings down Katav the shmiyat kriyat parsha Zachor ba'asar Atik Yotem Kriyat Megillah B'tzibur.
Wow, listen, look at that. You hear what's going on?
Yeah, the reading of Parshat Zachor with 10 people, I mean, is more important than reading the Megillah in the Tzibur.
So let's say a guy lives out by himself, and he can only get away either for the Shabbos before Purim, or he can, and then he's got to come back, or he can be away for Purim. Like, for whatever reason, that's whatever it is, And according to this, Parshat Zachor would take precedence to hear that minyan on Shabbos rather than hearing the Megillah on Purim B'tzibur. Big Chiddush.
Shemikra Megillah Ladat Rova Poskim Saki Bizmanu B'Yachid. That the reading of Megillah, according to most poskim, can be done by an individual.
Right. So Bizmano, meaning if it's going to be, if a person's someone who's obligated in Purim on Yud Dalet. Right, this is important to know, because if it's a person who's, let's say, obligated on Purim and Yud Dalet, and for some reason he has no minyan, right? There are those poskim that say that he'll read it on his own. He'll read it on his own. He'll be yotzi with that. He doesn't need a minyan. Well, let's say you can't get a minyan. Right? You have 9. Can't get a minyan, so that'll be okay. B'di'evet, you're definitely supposed to have a minyan. But if it's not bismano, then it's going to be necessary to get a minyan.
Therefore, if he cannot do both of them with the minyan, he should do for sure Parshat Zachor with the tzibur.
Okay. Up till now, that's where it's coming out.
That's the Trumas Adashim. Now, Ava Magen Avram, Mitzadeh de Tov Yoter She'ava Lamak U'Shkar Megillah B'tzibur. The Magen holds that it's better for him to go to a place and read the Megillah B'tzibur. Parshat Zachor Yotze Al Pi Adacha B'ma She'yishma Kriya B'Purim B'Parshat Vayav Amalek. And when it comes to Parshat Zachor, he can be Yotze in after the case that he can hear the Kriyas Megillah of Purim Vayav Amalek. Levazed Nami Zochar Amalek. Because with this, he's also remembering Amalek. The Yotze Dechavata, and he can be Yotze his obligation. Utzono Lomar means that the Yotze Midoraita, and he's Yotze according to the Torah. And this is what we speak about earlier in Simon Zaman. The mitzvah tzricha kavanah, the mitzvah is kavana. Yitzarach be'et shemiyat parshat zo lechabel aseh bazeh mitzvah aseh shel zachor. And when he's listening to Vayav Amalek, he has to have in mind that he's being Yotze the Zachor Amalek.
Okay, let's just review up to now. So the first part of Mishna Berura was the Trumas Hadesh, and it said if a person has a choice listening to Parshat Zachor b'minyan or Kriyas Megillah b'minyan, it's better to go to where he's going to hear Parshat Zachor on Shabbos to hear that b'minyan. Now, however, the aval, in general, the lashon aval in the Mishna Berura is lashon psak. So the Mishna Berura seems to be taking a bit of a stand here. The Magen Avraham says, nevertheless, there's an eitzah, meaning you have some type of a fail-safe factor here, that when you would go to hear the Megillah B'tzibur, since they're also reading the parsha that you read on Purim is Yavo Amalek, right, which is also a statement of what Amalek did. B'zeh nami zocher ma'aseh Amalek. With that, the Mishna says you're also recalling what was done to the Jewish people by those Amalekim. Then you're Yotze Yedei Chavaso. Then you could be Yotze with that as well. So therefore you have an eitzah to accomplish both at the same time. And that means that you have to say that you're being Yotze at Midaraisa. And then Mekaimalan means...
But only he has to have it. The Balkari doesn't have to have it in mind for him unless somebody asks him,
right? Yeah, now the question could be that you're raising is maybe he should make mention of him, right?
To the Balkari.
To the Balkari, right. In general, many people sometimes even make an announcement or things like this. Yeah, sometimes they do. But again, like here in Yerushalayim, you certainly get a lot of opportunities. It's, but let's say.
There's even in Kitet Say, there's a mullet to Kitet Say.
Yep. Well, that's a master. That's a master.
He can be Yotze on it also if he has.
Some people said he can be Yotze.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, some people say you can.
Right. But
the only question I had is if you have to have the pleasant to have you in mind for that.
Lidkachila would probably be best.
But Parshat Zachor, everybody announces it. Everybody announces it.
Right. Lidkachila, but Stammer would be best if you could tell him beforehand that you need to hear it, and if you could have come on it to you to be motzi.
Why is it Machlokes the Parshas Torah is the Rabbanan?
Parshas Para.
Yeah.
Well, we're not getting into that right now, but maybe we'll get closer to Parshas Para. We'll discuss it. That's coming up to the end of the month when we get to closer to Pesach. And then, good question.
But according to my opinion, the main halacha said by the Magen Avraham needs discussion or introspection. The Torah, it says in Torah, remember what they did. That he caught you on the way and he came after you. Timche and destroy. That the intention is that you should not forget what Amalek did to us. To tell this to our children and to our generations. This is what the terrible person did. And therefore we have to destroy his name, like the Ramban wrote in his explanation. And this point is not mentioned when we say with the Kriyat Torah of Purim Vayavu Amalek.
Right. So Mishna was not so happy with this.
With this concept.
Well, yeah.
Even though he said above, right?
Right. Even said above. Nevertheless, it's not so 100% clear that that's what you should.
And yet, I've heard a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
I've heard people, whatever reason they miss Zachor or sick or whatever, and they went to Shul Purim to hear it.
They do. I mean, there's nothing else you can do. I mean, unless you wait.
A whole year, but then you pass the year.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be once a year, so if you hear, no, you don't pass the year, I'm sorry, because if it's Purim in summer, you don't pass the year.
So you have theory you have it.
No, it's year to year, and you visit twice, yeah.
So, okay.
V'inatam tamam, with the tune and the tamim. Dash, the yesh omim shetzarech likro zecher ma b'tzere, v'yesh om tzarech likro zecher. Besego. Know that when you read Zecher, you have to. Some people say you have to do the Zecher, and some people Zecher.
Yeah.
Ve'alken me'anachon she'akorei yikrashnan. And the real way is that you read both of them.
Right.
That's interesting to him to be able to both.
Since the question was it Seirei,
do they say the whole pasuk?
Some say the pasuk over twice with each.
So you have two pasukim we say twice, the first and the last. Right? There's something also at the end. Isn't there something at the end?
You the Sephardim also do? Don't say it twice?
No, that's because the ones that do say it by us is because they learned by Ashkenaz.
What's the correct way to say it? How do you say it then correctly?
I'm told that. I don't know. I'm told that. I can't even tell the difference between
Zecher or Zecher? How do you say it?
I'm so mixed up. I don't know the difference. I grew up, Sephardic. I went to Lubavitch Yeshiva. I went to Ashkenazic. I worked then I davened with my father in the Sephardic synagogue. Then I would work for 40 years with Ashkenazim, intermingling with the Sephardim. Now I'm with the Sephardim again. I have no idea which is which. I'm a mixed up Jew.
You're okay.
V'yeshom tzorach lichol zecher amav yisrael. Okay. Al kain me'anachon shakor yikra shneim. The Valkor should read both of them.
Right. So some say it's just one after the next, after the next, right after one back to back. Zecher zachor, and some repeat the whole pasuk again.
That's right. That's one. That's Shnehem, to the Yotze both of them. Katama Mariel Bechol Arba Parshot and Maskrim Neshama. In all four parshas we don't remember what's Maskrim Neshama. Mention Neshama. Does that come out?
Yeah.
On
those weeks, yeah.
You don't say Mincha, you don't say Kamar. Ve'omrim Sitkatcha Niskatcha, you say it. Darkei Moshe. Well, Linyan Abarachim, according to Abba, Rabba, Beshem HaGaod Min Hagim, according to Kabbalah, the Yesh Lomar B'em Abarachim, we have to say Abarachim. Well, the Darkei Mordechai Beshem Ma'aril, Mashmed En Omri B'em Abarachim, we don't say Abarachim. Bechen Heitik B'derech Chaim Sodidechem. Well, Linyan Tani Shel Shovadim Tat, Ayen Beber Heite B'Sharit Shuva.
Okay.
Shovim tat is next year, right?
Excuse me?
Shovim tat is in the next year. Tat.
Maybe I didn't look at the word.
This was the last one, isn't it?
No, it's last, it's last year. This year there was no tat.
There's no
Why?
tat.
Because it wasn't an extra, usually it's only when it's an extra. Oh, Mishna, right there.
Okay, very
I
good.
went to a Jew
Yeah.
who fasted the whole week from Lunch to Shabbos. So I told you that. And once he's fasted, this night just went Erev Shabbos.
Yeah.
From Lunch to Shabbos to Erev Shabbos. For Erev Shabbos, he was away from us. I got son got me in. I got a bracha from him. Made kiddush. And apparently, when the house was full, everybody came to this. He didn't eat or drink the whole week. Just learning.
Yeah.
How did he do that?
You practice, and you have to have a lot of faith in God.
That's right.
That's what it is.
You have to completely spiritual.
So obviously, he's a very spiritual person. He was able to do it. It's a forgotten art.
Yeah.
Morocco is constantly done.
Sure.
Show everyone.
We see all the time Morocco.
All,
How you go out without drinking?
yeah, why is it? They have people, the rabbis, I was very young, but I remember later even, the rabbis keep coming, changing, so they change his learning. So he's learning this, so a new rabbi comes in, so right away his mind is busy. His mind is constantly busy learning, so he has no time to think of anything, you know?
So what about these? Don't feel like to have some nutrition to your body?
God is your nutrition that week. If you can do that, God's protecting you.
That's right.
That's only for someone at a very high level.
Yeah?
Yeah, look, it's, you have to have...
But
preparation.
Shabbat did it for 40 days, so very nice.
That's right. Okay, let's get back to our eating and drinking on Purim. Yeah.
So what about Purim? What do you do for Purim?
There's no Shabbat in Purim.
What?
There's no Shabbat in Purim. That was during the week of Shavim, the last week of Shavim.
That's- Okay, we'll take another,
Where are you up to?
What's the whole
we're in
show?
the middle of the Ramal over here in Tav Reish Tzadi Hey.
Yeah.
Middle of the Ramal. Start from the
Where,
start
from what? From base?
Yeah, base.
Oh,
From
base,
base.
okay.
We'll go.
Harris Basume בפוריה עד לא ידע בין הרבה. ויש אומרים אין צריך להשתכר כל כך, it doesn't have to get so drunk, אלא ישתה יותר מלימודו, more than regular. וישן and sleep. ומתוך שישן אין יודע בין אור המן וברחמון, there's a difference between אור המן וברחמון. ואחד המרבה ואחד המעמיק בלבד שיקרא למשמעת. Whether you drink a lot or you drink a little, you should only, your heart should be timid. ואין להתענות בפורים, you should not fast Purim מלבד תענית חלום except for תענית חלום. Does that mean you have to redo it again? Because if you do it on Shabbos, you have to do it again. So you have to do it again? Purim is not one of those things.
Let's see.
What's the time is Chalom exactly?
You have a bad dream and then you fast because you're so bothered by it.
Does it happen these days?
Some people have it.
You see, the Mishnah says, take a look at the Mishnah Sivkot and vote.
Well,
Yisana.
אני עד אחר, וירחב קודם ביאת השמש רק פעם אחת. She eats one time before the sun sets. הנשבע בפורים יראה להט ישבוע. Okay, somebody makes a shvua, it's different, so you can do a Hatar and Darman, I guess, do it another time.
Right. So it's apparent that the Mishnah was saying that he's not to fast the whole day. If he would, I'm not sure, but you most likely have to make it up. I imagine. I'm
By
not
eating
sure.
or by fasting? Ba'ayilel siman tavkuf samachay. Siman tavkuf ayin. Yesh nagu libos b'day Shabbos v'yom tov v'purim. There are those who wear Shabbat clothing on Yom Tov Purim. Derchen nachon, that's what you be. Noagim lasot sudat Purim lachar mincha, and it's customary to do the sudat Purim after mincha. The arvit palo balala, and yishdam marvit night. Palo mincha tchila, yishdam mincha first be'od, hayom ganadil still be. The rov hasudat tzricha v'yom b'yom. Most of the sudat has to be in the day. The local Moshe Nagim Latchiv Samach Le'er, and not like those who have a custom of starting late in the day, close to evening. Ve'ikar tzud leil tov tetvav, and then most of their meal turns out that it's on the tetvav on the next day. Shechal Purim Yom Shishim. Purim falls on Friday. Yaso Sukkah V'Shachash. Make sure it's for breakfast. Mishum Kvod Shabbos, because of Kvod Shabbos. Umisha Rotze Le'asot Tamid B'Shachrit. I should be able to. If somebody wants to do the Sudas of Purim in breakfast, you can do it at Tziyazed right. Yesh omrim sheyesh lechol ma'achal zar'onim b'Purim. There's those who say you have to eat seeds on Purim. Zecher lezar'onim she'achal Daniel b'chavera b'Bavuk, in commemoration of the seeds that Daniel and his friends ate in Bava. Tov lasach me'ad b'Torah, it's good to learn a little Torah, kom shechashiot, before he starts Yeshiva. V'semech la'davar la'yudim hayta ora v'simcha, the allusion to la'yudim.
I mean the support. But
The support.
samach l'davar, the support for this that you should learn before the Suda is
From
this
la'yudim
pasuk.
hayta v'simcha, that the Jews had light and simcha v'dashina and zo'or, and this is, the light is Torah. V'chaya b'mishna v'simcha ketzad b'shnei yamim yudav v'tedvav, and he should make a feast on both days, the 14th and the 15th. V'chen nagam, this is the custom. V'yeshom de'im hizik echad et chavero mikoach simchas Purim partum shalom. There's those that say that if somebody hurts his friend because of simchas Purim, he doesn't have to pay him. V'ayim b'choshen mishpat b'din nizik. And look in choshen mishpat, the laws of hurting somebody.
You're not supposed to hit somebody in Purim.
What?
You're not supposed to hit somebody in Purim.
But let's say you're dancing, you step on his foot and you twist his ankle, right? So, well, let's say you pull his beard, because it dislocates his jaw.
Can it happen?
Can it happen? Yeah, I
It
imagine.
can happen. Now, let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah, that's not.
We don't want to go that route.
What's dislocating his jaw? What has happened?
What?
Dislocating one's jaw.
It's painful. All they do.
It's surprising. The problem becomes that we train the kids, and in my time too. I'm not putting anybody down. Please understand that, to drink, but they don't train them like that. You have to know that if you're going to go a certain point, you're not supposed to anymore. I mean, we learned that in house. It's al salacha. Like I guess it's like a free day for the Yeshiva guys to get drunk, which you need a day. I mean, I'm not saying. The problem is that when
How
you're
about would only be a day? It shouldn't start the Shabbos before.
I give them all the
months
credit,
of the
Rabbi.
That's the training, the Shabbos
That's
was
why
the
that's
training,
the
you have the training.
No, but I'm just
Yeah.
that the problem in drinking today is a big problem, especially in America. I don't know about Israel, but in America it's a big problem. It's time, that the second part has to also be done.
You're right. Yeah, there's no question.
I'm just saying. Listen, it's not fair for me to say you have to. I mean, I went through the other side, so it's not fair for them.
No,
They should have a chance, right?
It's unfortunate that it gets too out of hand, too wild, and a lot of times it ends in disasters. It's like there are a lot of people.
I've been in situations where kids I've taken to the hospital and had to change the blood. They have to clean the blood out. They don't realize, they drink, they don't realize that body can only take so much alcohol. After that, they pass out.
Yeah, of course.
No, but pass out is one thing. Then they have to. Then when they get to a certain point,
To
it's
pump the stomach, maybe.
no, they have to take the blood out of your system and clean the blood and put it back
No,
in.
because
It's not what you're thinking. It's not pumping the
Painful,
stomach.
huh?
I don't know if it's painful or not. I mean, you're probably out, so they probably put you out anyway. But the concept of taking your blood out of your system to clean out the alcohol, so you can have blood in your system that can function, it gets to a point that it's very dangerous. That's all I'm saying.
No, of course it is. I mean, first
Well,
of
you
all,
have
you're not
to, I'm
supposed
trying
to
to
drink
talk to
them.
this year, he's going to drink, and you kept talking to you shouldn't drink this year.
Well,
Trying to
they
talk to this other
have
situation.
these contests. There are these contests that they take a bottle of gin and they see who can drink who's going to drink the full
No,
bottle.
they go to,
Down
that's my son said in Yeshiva. They used to come to Purim, and the guy says to him, "You want $100?" He puts $100,000 and he takes out a Johnny Walker or something like that. And he fills up the glass. He says, "You have to drink it straight, not a little." Not a little. And you drink it, and they give it, and it's the boys in Shib Shamayim. You need $100 for the Yeshiva.
Yeah, I
And the guy he drinks, then he walks out of the room and he falls on the floor.
You don't have to tell me. I've seen it all.
So they do.
That's not what none of the posts even told you about that. They never had that in mind.
It's big money.
Look, I mean, that
Drinking for raising funds, I think, was always done. I mean, I remember people used to come to the house in Morocco and they used to come for a drink.
okay.
But it got to the point that there's so many Yeshiva guys that it became the focal point of Purim to drinking. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not putting anybody down because, like I said, I've been there, done that. but it becomes very dangerous. The more you get into it, the more it becomes dangerous.
Of course, you look at the people are lots of redam, and the alcohol is it's a drug, it's a poison. They're not supposed to drink that. Hard liquor beflower is not really the way you're supposed to fulfill the mitzvah. Put comic strips in your tefillin and say you're wearing tefillin. Again, like you go to sleep if you know what's your goal here? That's what the Berura said. You should reach the miri, the elasika shel tainuk. Sheyigia mitoicha le'avas Hashem yizbora.
Right.
When a guy's spinning around and he's in the bathroom and he's as close to the water in the toilet as he can get. That's not how Hashem is born. You can't even think about it because he's born in a place like that. So, but okay, so. Most guys, if they've done it once and they've gone that far, they're not going to repeat it. Unless they don't learn from their mistakes.
The Tati, they make a lot of money. That's one of the stories.
Yeah, okay, fine, but again, the Rosh Yeshivas, if they
the Rosh Yeshivas don't have money to give the kids. Like two of my boys got married, so they gave them like a 10,000 shekel. They said they come to you 3 weeks before they get married. They say here's 10,000 shekel. Buy yourself clothes. Buy yourself this, buy yourself this. Where does the money come from? That's all they you have to do on the Erev Purim.
Okay, fine. You can do it.
Yeshivas don't have these things anymore. They don't have money.
You can do it, but you don't have to get drunk.
That's people do these things, like the glass or Johnny Walker.
Right. I'm not saying you should stop. I'm just saying you got to be careful.
Yeah.
It's getting very, very stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
Now some people don't drugs. They don't deal with the drugs. I would remember the story. Just deal with
Okay, God save us. Number 8.
Yes, please.
V'yishad mitoch sheyashin. That he should say because he slept that it would be v'chen rai lasuk. And this is the way it should be done.
Right. So you see the Ramah mentioned it. Like the proper way to go ahead and do it is like drink a little bit extra. Again, if you want to have, like a guy like me on a weekday, I don't drink anything. Right. So I could really drink 1 cup of wine. Take a nap, and I'm happy and fine. Right? You want to enjoy it. So there's something about enjoying some. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 courses of. Want to even spread it out. The way you're supposed to have a suit. You're supposed to start afternoon. You have a full 6 hours if you really know how to enjoy yourself. You're singing, you're dancing, there's Divrei Torah. There's more, another bottle of wine, another cup of wine, and like you can get to a very high level of what we said in the area in the Mishna, Berura, Hashem. Yeah, you don't have to get sick. Right? You don't have to get sick. And the Mishna, so the Ramah wrote it. See, the Sfarim don't have to worry about this, that they're not worried about this.
They learned from the Ashkenaz.
And the Prima Garden said it, and now the Mishnah Berura is saying, if it came Roy Lassus, this is the proper thing to do. This is the proper thing to do. The Ramah himself, I mentioned this last week, if not the Ramah on Moitzi Purim, he would take off his regular, I guess he was a big day covered, a frock and a hat, and he would put on regular plain clothes, and he would go from house to house, knocking on the doors of the house, coming into the house, and making sure people would not forget to have in Myra.
Purim.
Moitzi Purim. That was his vote on Moitzi Purim, to make sure people would come to the minyan. Yeah. Okay.
Except for fasting, except for the time of the dream, the aneh, and she fast. And he should eat before the sun goes down 1 time. And Nishba, the time of the Purim, Yira Lahatir Shuat, the one who made a neder to fast.
Took a vow
to fast on Purim, he should look to have it
nullified or undone. Nullification, that's had to undo the shul.
Lion El Siman Tavkuf Samachet Seif Hey, with the Siman Tavkuf Ein Habeit. Why? ואחר מנחה, after מנחה, עד לא נהיגי לעשות בשחר. Those for the ones who are accustomed,
Well,
not accustomed to do shachris time. משום שתרדו משלוח מנות, because they're busy with shlach mנות. והם משחרים ברוב עד מנחה, and they stayed and busy until mincha time. ואסורים להתחיל סעודה קודם מנחה. You cannot start the suda before mincha.
Right, so if they've been busy all morning, right, and they didn't start their Suda yet, and now it's time for Mincha, so now it's not going to help you really on Purim, because even if you want to be soymech on the leniencies of on a regular day, that if you didn't daven Mincha early to start a Suda, so it's not going to be such a big Suda, and we usually daven with a minyan, and you'll have a shomer, someone watching you, but all those three ideas fall down by Purim, because number one, Suda's Purim is a completely different Suda than most other Sudas during the rest of the year. Number two, you're probably not going to get a minyan of sober people later in the day before Shkia. And number three, you're probably not going to find a shomer to watch over you, because they're probably as drunk as you. So you don't have any of these leniencies that you can rely on. So you must really daven before you start your Suda.
The other younger Gadol is they still
That's means the Suda you have to have the Suda where it's
early in the afternoon.
Well, early in the afternoon.
What about this year where it falls on Friday?
Oh, we'll get to it. Hold on, we're going to get to it. We'll turn the page. We'll discuss that.
כתב לי אבא שם השלה, המשובח, that the best thing Misha is b'shachar, the most crazy is the one who does the Suda in the morning. כתב עוד, they also wrote, שיקבץ אנשי בית הבחר דאי אפשר לשמוח קרוב ביחד. But he should also, I guess, gather his friends and his family and friends, because you cannot be happy by yourself.
Right, like everyone's out there, you got everyone's out there doing shows. One is you're sitting in your home, you want to start, so you got their bottle of wine there, all the food's ready, and everyone's out there, at the other places having a good time.
I mean, כל מקום יהיה שמחה של דברי תורה עוד להתקמא. And anyway, should be a simcha of divrei Torah.
That's the Iker Simcha. You have to.
Sorry.
Yeah, the Iker Simcha is that through divrei Torah. You should really, and look, you can make up, Nicholas Yan Yossi Sodi, you can make up a lot of nice, funny things from Torah as well. It can get very nice and pleasant.
Hasuda b'shachris, Hasuda is for shachris. Hainu kodem chatzos hayom lechatchila, before the half a day.
Now this is that's look at the top line in the Ramah. It says Purim b'Yom Shishi. If Purim comes out on Yom Shishi, as it's going to be Be'ez Hashem here in Yerushalayim, Ya'as Suda b'Shachris Mishum Kavod Shabbos. You should make your Suda on Shachris, as the Mishna said. The Hainu Kodim Chatzos. You should make it before Chatzos. That meaning ideally it should be before Chatzos. Why? Because Kavod Shabbos, meaning you have to have an appetite for your Shabbos food, right? Especially if your Rebbitzins are going to be making. They made a whole thing for Purim. And now they're making, all good things also for Shabbos. You're gonna come in and you're not gonna.
Can you eat food for Shabbat on Purim? That you prepared for Shabbat on Purim?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but
you're cooking, so you have for Shabbat also.
Right, right. I mean, also you should try and make something special for Shabbos. That there is an Indian that you make something special for Shabbos. So like, let's say.
Not for Purim?
No, you have this. Purim should be. Even nicer than Yom Tov. It should be even more than nicer than Shabbos. Like you have to, be creative and you get Matisyahu to give you some culinary ideas, menu ideas. But maybe that's an idea. Maybe we should speak to him, giving
If they shoot on what to make for
We're not doing the cooking, so it's not gonna. They can tune on to the YouTube and they'll soon tune in.
So we're gonna have food for Shabbat. Again, we also eat for Purim.
Right.
So the Purim.
So you
Two different maids. To make two different maids, and you won't have a problem.
Right.
Take the maid for Shabbat, and make the maid for Shvid, and you won't have a problem.
Right. But it shouldn't be like boring for people. We just ate this, a couple hours ago.
Right.
So so I think we're making it differently or something like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
At least I would suggest at least having one special thing for Shabbos. Like maybe a different soup or whatever, something that you a side dish or something you have to be able to creative to find something a little bit special for Shabbos.
Okay.
והי ביד אפרים מה שכתב בשם בהריו. Okay. Machar zeroim by
This-
Laila Rishona. The first night. What do you mean the first night is only one day?
Yeah, well, since we're gonna see now that at the end it says Chayev v'mishta simcha kitzas
both,
b'shnei
okay.
yomim yudale v'tezvav. You might think that
Okay.
that you have to have zeroim,
Okay.
right? But just whatever it is, I mean, in the normal case where it's yudalit, so that the night of yudalit should have zeroim. So yeah, you have seeds on it. Sometimes you get these challahs with the poppy seeds
Right.
on them or something like that. That might be enough. Or you can go out and buy these pumpkin seeds. You know, kind of find something. It's nice to. It's a minhag, so you fulfill the minhag one.
So your shalad for you, if you do it on the 14th, you're all in this case situation, or you need to have it. Because they said Rabbi Shad, I'm assuming he's saying it for chol, because they do the 14th.
Right.
They're at the 14th. So by us, would it be the 15th then?
I think so.
Okay. Then Niyava Chavera, the Gam Esther Achazar Onim, and also Esther ate seeds. Kedamir Perakama the Megillah, the Menu Gimel. Vaishaneh Latov, and it was turned for the good. Sheachila Zorm, that she ate seeds.
Good.
The Im Hizik, that if he hurt somebody, Bebach, in the Bach, Mechalek Ben Hezek Gadol the Katan, he separates between big damage and small damage.
He distinguishes between hezek, a damage which is a great damage, or a slight damage.
May begupim, whether it's by body or money. The hezek gadol makpidim ein midal lifto hezek gadol, because if somebody does a great damage, it's not the custom to forgive it, and when it comes to a big damage.
Right. So a guy takes the fellow's kippur and throws it into the chicken soup. So you get it. So at 12 shekels kippur, you can assume the guy's going to be makpi. I don't know about the balabuster. Maybe he's not so happy with the chicken soup now. So, but if it's a big expense, or it hurts him seriously, that obviously is not. But again, as we learned previously, if you just take one more look at the very end, we saw last week, right, that midas chasidus, you're not supposed to steal from people, and certainly you're not supposed to damage anybody. You're not supposed to say, unfortunately, people sometimes use it as an excuse. The very last page, almost the last page Kuf Samet Gimel, that's in Taf Reish Sadi Vav, the last few lines of the Ramah.
I'm sorry.
The Mishna Berura,
The last page of the Mishna Berura.
Yeah. So page Kuf Samet Gimel Amid Beis. Kuf Samet Gimel Amid Beis. The Ramah says there, just before Taf Reish Sadi Zayin, the line above that, right? Says v'chein b'nei adam hachotvim zeh mezeh b'derek simcha. There are those people that they grab things one each from the other person in the way of fun. Ein b'zeh mishum lo sigzol. There's no stealing involved, no isser, no prohibition of stealing in this. No good kach, and that's the way they're annoying, right? U'avad shelo yasadav shelo kahogan al pi. You shouldn't do anything which is improper according to the public ordinances. So they just So just take a look there in Lamed Aleph and Lamed Beis, in the Lamed Aleph in the Mishna Berura, if I'm not mistaken. Right, lo mishum lo sigzol is not there. Lefi zeh mutar levorek al ma shechotvim. Number one is that if you steal something, you steal the guy, he's walking with a tray of breakfast or something like that, you can steal a couple of breakfasts from him on the street, you can make a brach on it, it's not a problem. Mihu, however, kasav b'shloch, lav, mishnas chasidisi. This is not something which is supposed to be done by people who are righteous. Shoymer nashu, yarchik, and now it goes into wearing shatnez, that's another thing. Okay, just mention that the shloch says people do it, but you're not supposed to do it. Yeah, don't think it's a mitzvah. Don't think because it says in Shulchan Aruch you go and do it. It's those who did, they do it, but you're not supposed to do it.